Caution is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today we are doing our top 5 worst games of 2018. And Kat's here. So, caveat, two things. One, if you hear barking, it's my shithole of a dog, who just won't shut up.
She's playing with her ball.
She is, how old now? 6 months old?
She's 4 months old.
Oh. She's 4 months old, which,
She a baby. She's like, what does that make her? 7, 8? 10 dog years?
well, a
Depends
year
on the breed.
is 7 years.
It depends on the breed. It changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast.
Well, even then, like, so my boss about my dog, because I'm like, why doesn't she do anything that I want her to? And she's like, well, if you do the average of a year to us is 7 years. She's like, what 7-year-old do you know that does everything?
Right.
And I'm like, that's a good point. It doesn't make it any less frustrating. The other caveat is I get so much hate on these games. I know I will probably get hate
I
for
will on a couple.
all of these. Well, not all of them, but probably at least 2 of them. But I do want to say...
There will be 2 or 3 of mine will people want to agree with.
Gotcha. I don't think we'll have any crossover.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. If you played it. I don't know.
But I will say, like, I don't hate all of these games. I just think that out of all the games that came out this year, these were the 5 worst. I don't have honorable mentions for this just because we shit on so many.
There are 2 of these that I would play, and that's how I rank them.
Okay.
Like my 5 would be probably the one I would play the most if somebody asked, and then just down. My number 1 is just complete. I will not touch.
Okay. I think for me, it came down to like which one had the biggest hype for me, like which ones were I most excited for that ended up being ultimately the most disappointing.
Yeah.
And they just had so much to stack up to this year. Like I think there was a plethora of awesome games.
Year.
I think like a lot of people were like 2018 sucks. I was like, no, it didn't. I don't know. Now these 5 games sucked, but and yeah, so Kat's here basically to draw apparently and commentate if needed. So hopefully she chimes in every now and then.
At the end of this, we'll show exactly what I've drawn. I've already got the image.
Racist depictions. Like, what the hell?
You know, Monica's here, so.
So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with Brad.
All right. My number 5 was a game that I looked forward to quite a bit because I like card games. It's a 2-player card game. It's made by Ninja Division, which is this game got a lot of heat, especially lately because of the Kickstarter Legends. That's the one that they do.
Blue Moon.
Super Dungeon Explorer Legends.
Okay.
Their Kickstarter, like it's 2 years late. And
wow.
They're like $750,000 in the hole. They don't know if they're gonna be able to send it out now, and they made a lot of money, right?
Yeah. I just got an email from I backed a card game called Animator versus Animation.
Yeah.
And apparently that company went bankrupt.
Really? Yeah, and I fear that's what's happening. But what this company's been doing, apparently, rumor, is they've been making Kickstarters to pay for their
older games. Oh my god!
Well, this was a game, and I didn't know that at this time. And this is a game I was kind of because it's Warhammer. It's called Warhammer Doomseeker.
Okay.
And pretty much the theme of it is a 2-player game, and you are trying to have the most glorious death. You're getting victory points and you're doing all this stuff to try to die and be the coolest, most awesome person to die. Right? That's really the theme, and it's supposed to be simple, you know, and all that stuff. Well, it was incredibly simple. Like I'm talking like Munchkin level simple.
Oh.
You know, and there's a lot of vibes with Munchkin in it. It has a board, and there's all these different decks and all that stuff that goes out. But the other thing is it's one of those games like it's too luck based.
Oh, I see.
You know, there's the luck based with the cards, and then there's dice also. So then you're not only messing with the card variability, but you also have to roll dice, and I know there's a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
But in a simplistic 2-player game.
Well, it's funny because I was just thinking when you made that statement that we've made statements in the past with other games where it's like, oh, it does this and I don't like it, but then another game does the exact same thing, but we like it in that game, and I was just thinking, why is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, there has to be a mentality set that goes into it.
Yeah.
Like, there are just some games that just don't vibe with. It's like, I don't know, I just don't like it.
And I don't like Munchkin.
Oh, okay.
Don't crucify me if any of you
No,
do.
I mean,
But I think that's pretty common.
I don't go out of my way
Right.
to play Munchkin.
And this is a Warhammer game.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting, I'm like, because I didn't, I was like, it's a simplistic card game. I'm gonna sit down and we'll play it. It's gonna be pretty cool. It's Warhammer, all that stuff, and then it's like, wow. And like I said, even with all that being said, this one would be the one I would probably play again, just because it was so fast and simple,
Mhm.
and it's easy to teach and stuff like that. It was just didn't work as well as I thought it would.
Okay. I've never even heard of it. So that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of Warhammer games anyway, just because the theme doesn't appeal to me. I don't know anything about it.
I don't like the 40K. I like the more
okay.
fantasy.
Okay, so
the fantasy
either one
like.
I don't know anything about. So my number 5 is a game that I have done a no run-through review for 3 of these. One will be on the channel, run-through will be on the channel soon, and the other one is on the channel. So my number 5 is a no run-through review that I did called Archmage, whatever. A game I picked up at Gen Con that the guy lied to me. He didn't lie to me. He just, I mean, he just swindled me. There we go. No, I got the the deluxe copy, and it was like the cards were like holographic or foil, and it just seemed like a really neat game because the artwork on the cover is amazing. But at the end of the day, they had one cool system, and the rest of the game was absolute. Like, it wasn't trash, it was just super boring.
Right.
Archmage is basically you are trying to, like, get the most spells. Like, by the end of a certain time period, whoever has, like, the best spells in their spell book, and it does all this, it was a victory point game. The tower system was really cool because you had to, there was, like, I think 6 or 8 types of magic, blood magic, nature, will, all that, and you had to get acolytes into this tower, and then those are the kind of spells that you could have in your spell book. It's like, alright, that's cool, but if you want a level 2 spell, you need to combine blood with death or whatever, and then you needed 2 acolytes, which then you could have them duel, and then you take one of those meeples, put it on the combination, and the other one goes away, and then now you can do the level 2 spells.
Right.
That was those combinations. But now you can't have the blood or the death single spells because you have no one there training. That was really cool. But unfortunately, the rest of the game was just so lackluster. It was just such a pain in the ass to move, and I think they wanted to be more cutthroat than it was. But whenever we played it, we were like, why? There's no point for us to run over there to take you off of that. It was just.
Do you think it's one of those black and white games? Because I've heard there's people that love it, and then there's you don't care for it. Because as I was driving over here, I was listening to Secret Cabal. I don't know if you listen to their podcast.
No,
and they're talking about how awesome it is.
Yeah,
I've never played it, but
I think I definitely see the appeal. I see the appeal to 3 out of these 5 games.
Yeah.
And someone commented on that run through, or no, they didn't comment. It was someone that I ended up selling it to, and he was like all for it. He really liked it, and he was just, I think, he was like, you must really like heavy games or just a different style. And I'm like, I mean, I like
good games.
I'm like, I play a plethora of other games. It's not that it wasn't heavy, and it wasn't. It's just like I want every action that I do to have a purpose. Like, I don't care about games that have only big actions, or like, even if it's like, okay, well, each turn you're going to be doing something little to add up. It's like, that's all fine to me as long as what I'm doing leads up to something else. In this one, it was such a pain in the ass to move across the map, or you were just like, I guess I'll explore. Whenever half of your turn is, I guess I'll do this.
Right.
That's not for me. So
well, there's an expansion on Kickstarter.
There is an expansion on Kickstarter. So,
but I haven't.
I don't know what it's about. I don't know what they plan on doing. And also, like, the other thing that bugged me is every single person had the same access to the same spells.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like lame. Now the artwork, like I said, is beautiful. The foil cards were awesome. That was a neat thing. The designer, very nice guy. He actually knew about my channel going into Gen Con. So maybe if like more spells, more something to the game, it could have been a top-notch game, and it just wasn't. So that's my number 5.
All right. My number 4 is one that I really, just by the name, it's a dull name, but it fit with another game that we both love, and you've played this game too, is Dice Settlers.
Oh, okay.
I've only played this once, so I didn't, but it was not anything like I expected it to be.
Right.
Not just the game, but the component quality as well. When you're doing a bag building game like this, have bigger bags. That's one thing. When you have meat hooks, you're trying to shove your hands into this.
Their dice were huge too, so
Right,
I guess
right.
I'll keep grabbing the top
Right.
too.
So I mean, that's just dumb. Like if I actually liked the game, I probably would replace the bags with bigger bags and stuff like that. It was just too. There wasn't anything special about it. It was obviously when you think of the name, you automatically think, okay, is it like Catan? Is it like Imperial Settlers? It's kind of like that, and it just wasn't anything special. It was simplistic. I actually made my notes here. Boring artwork and theme. It wasn't exciting. It was just blah. I mean, there was a lot of hype with this game, and stuff at the time, but there's a lot more games that fit in this. Now, I would play it again with bigger bags. If somebody had it and wanted to play it, but it's just not for the level that I expected it to be and what it was, and I think you kind of felt the same way maybe.
Right.
It just wasn't a thing.
Okay. I wasn't sure you had actually played that one.
I did. I played it with the guys.
Gotcha.
Drop on one time.
Okay. My number 4 is a game that this is going to be the first one that I'll probably get a lot of hate on. Is Lords of Helis. Because I think I'm the only one that doesn't like this game.
I don't play it.
So Lords of Helis is basically an area control game made by the company that did This War of Mine, Nemesis, and they're about to do the Tainted Grail. And it's basically sci-fi Greek mythology, which how can you go wrong with that? Your action, you build up these tall statues. I mean, if I wanted to nitpick just the miniatures, I don't like their Sundrop paint job. It just looks half-assed. It looks like they took these miniatures and then just quickly sprayed white spray paint, and they're like, all right, cool, that's Sundrop, guys. It's like, this looks like shit. But it's weird. This is where I was talking about the other games do it, but this one doesn't. I felt like everyone's turn, they worked so hard just for one person to walk in and just immediately demolish all of it. It was a tug-of-war mechanic in a game where it was like, oh god, like it was just so. Maybe it was just the time we played it, or just going into it. Maybe it was something we weren't expecting, but it was like, dear God, can someone please win?
Right.
Because they had, so you had these quests that you can go on with you, because you also had a hero that seemed unbalanced. Everyone's hero just as they like leveled up, it was like, what the fuck? Like, you are clearly superior than I am. But you had these quests that you can go on that you just move them off the board, and then they just move down, and you got those. The monsters, it was just kind of a weird mechanic. Like, it seemed interesting because you actually could target like specific areas of their body by playing cards, but it was just, that was kind of lackluster as well. You had multiple ways to win. Was, I think, control a whole region, or control a bunch of different sections. And other games have done this. Inish does this exact same thing, but I feel like the mechanics were fine in the game, but I didn't like the fact that you had to work way harder to get something for literally anyone to just be like, all right, I stopped you. Now your whole strategy is out the window.
Exactly.
And I mean that's ultimately why. Now I would play it again, just because circumstances probably would be different. But as of right now, it's my 4th worst game of 2018.
All right. My 3rd is, I don't know if you play this one or not. It's called Remnants. I think it's Silo. But post-apocalyptic theme. So, that fits right in my wheelhouse.
Right.
I had my expectations for it. It just wasn't as cool as what You know, I'm almost positive it was ILO that made it. And usually with their games, you know, I like the look of them and stuff like that and everything. But they made some weird choices in this game, and I don't know if it was tongue-in-cheek choices or what, but when you got victory points or points, they were tokens, and guess, just take a wild guess what was on what you were collecting, what the victory points were.
Caps.
Ketchup packets.
Oh.
Or ketchup, yeah, ketchup.
Okay.
Because ketchup is important back then,
I guess.
At that time or something. So your victory points are done with ketchup packets, you know. There's a part when you're gaining your resources. Yes. There's a part with
Fireside games.
Fireside. Okay, so it's the one. Never mind. So not ILO. It's Fireside. They're the ones that did like Castle Panic and Dead Panic and stuff like that. So anyway, I knew it was one of those. I had games in their company I liked. There's a portion of this game when you're collecting resources that it's real time dice rolling.
Okay.
And you know my feelings
You
about
don't
real
like to
time.
do
I don't like real
real-time
time stuff, so that was something that just kind of came out of the blue. It wasn't really talked about. There's this Badlands deck that you use. There's not very many cards in the Badlands deck, but there are some. They are just screw the whole game, just screw everything up.
Gotcha.
You know, they're like too.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
What would be the word? Heavy-handed.
Okay.
Too just tough.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that stuff, the component quality just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And when you put all that stuff together, the only thing good about this game is the theme.
and some would even say it's not even a good theme.
Well, right, you're right. If you don't like Fallout or post-apocalyptic stuff. But so it's one of those, like, we're starting to get in that zone where I would play it on but these next two that I say are ones that I just won't ever touch again.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Next one's going to be pretty easy because you were right, we do have a crossover. And my number 3 is Dice Settlers, which was a game I actually backed this on a whim. Like, I was like, I always back the same kind of things, let me go out of my wheelhouse. Then I remembered why I don't go out of my wheelhouse, because I actually thought the component quality was really good. For the dice were really well made. The bags, even though they were small, were really good. The tents were actually, those were probably the shittiest ones, but they ended up making a mistake. I got the ones with the big tents, but they were all supposed to be smaller. And then I thought the boards were, like the tiles were really thick, but you're right.
And I don't think it was a component as much, it was just artwork.
It was literally like they put on some texture for desert, but literally it was just brown, and then forests were green, and God, if you could think of a more lackluster game, I would be very surprised.
Yeah.
Like, even games with pasted on theme, I'm like, that has more theme than this one.
Right.
There was just nothing to this game. Like, I don't hate it. Like, I love Z Garcia's like ranking. He's like, I don't hate it. Like, I feel like ranking this game is worth, like, it's more than it's worth, just because there's nothing. There's nothing here. Like, it's not an average game. It's not an average game. It's not a 1 rating. So it's like, what the hell do I give it? Like, it was just, it was made.
It reminded me, because I've play tested for a lot of stuff before back in the day, and it almost reminded me of a super high quality prototype.
Oh, yeah.
That hadn't quite got a theme put on it yet.
Yeah.
And that's what it...
And I don't know how they did their playtesting, but if it's almost like a lot of other games, they probably had like 10 friends that they playtested and sat with them the entire time to explain what was going on. With a knife. What do you think of the fucking game?
You're back, right?
Not enough companies do blind playtesting where you just take it somewhere, you walk away, and then get feedback. That's where you get your honest feedback. Because it's like, hey, what do you think of the game? I see you made it, and that's as good. It's like, great, yeah, that's what I was going for. I was going for just to make money. Yeah. I don't remember the company that made it. No, it was NSKN.
Yeah, NSKN.
And they did.
Which they've done some stuff. I mean,
they've done Submerg.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I like Submerg, even though that's kind of that theme is barely there, but at least it's still there.
Because they give you what you want, which is just dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of make your own theme. This one, I couldn't like if it's fine if games have theme and you make, like Marvel Legendary has theme, but you can make it you could imagine and put scenarios in. This one is just like, I like, the buddy system, that's what I call it, where it's like, hey, I'm going to explore this tile now. Oh, you're adjacent, you can come with me. That was their way of forcing conflict.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey,
and it wasn't.
You want to fight, please? Please?
Please?
Will you please do something? Oh, man. Yeah, I would not play this game again because, dear God, it's like, hey, even if it's short, like, hey, you want to sit down for that? No, I do not.
So
like, I would rather sit in my room alone than play...
staring at a wall.
Then play Dice Settlers.
I finally remember which one this is. So when we first played it, I was tired and I was literally falling asleep at the table and Seth was like, well, just play it tomorrow. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And so we played it the next day and I was like, this is no better.
This is what we waited for.
Like, I might as well have just been a...
So you're fucking drawing of me.
we'll expose this at the end. Seth did this to us last year, where we had to play all the fucking games on his shelf at the end of the year to get them up on the channel, and what it says is, it's a little drawing of him angry, staring at his bookshelf of games, saying we have to play all these games by 2018. We have 12 hours to do it, because that's what it felt like. Anyway.
We played, yeah, anyway.
Dice Settlers. I would have rather just been half asleep the whole time, because even wide awake the next night, I was like, this,
Yeah.
like, I could be doing anything else.
I
don't
remember the rating I gave it, but...
4. No, I don't know. 2.5.
Anyway, that's Dice Settlers. That's more talking about it than it deserves. So, number 2.
Alright, my number 2 is one that, I don't really know what my expectations were on this game, because it's such an odd thing. It has a well-renowned designer. There's a lot of excitement for it. Steampunkish. Do you know the?
The only steampunk game I got is City of Gears.
Oh, okay. Imaginarium.
What?
Imaginarium.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, you are so wrong. Okay, I forgot about that. I haven't played the full game of this though.
Well, and I haven't either because I quit.
That's fair.
No, man. I played like probably not a full round, but I got enough to get my taste of it at Gen Con. You're talking about the Bruno Cathala game,
yeah. That's what I'm
with
saying.
the weird ass artwork.
Good design. Well, and that's part of my point. It's like the artwork and styling is very.
It's fucking creepy, man.
Is very. It's an acquired taste. Like
it really
like you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't.
I'm assuming you didn't. Yeah. I ended up liking it, but yeah, it's like a koala, like a humanoid koala, and he has like human teeth, and he's like, and they're like, I don't know what kind of artwork that is. Are you looking at
it?
Yeah.
It was a steampunk mix. There's a little bit of steampunk in it mixed with stuff, and it was kind of creepy and stuff. But it's an engine building game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A very slow engine building game. That was my thing. Like, I've never played an engine building game as slow as this game.
How many did you play it with?
4.
Okay.
4 total.
I only played it with 2. So
It would take you 3 turns to make one of these cubes that you needed, and it was just so slow. And then it wasn't even fun to look at, and it was just there was things that had there was a lot of potential, and I know there's people that like it and stuff. So I know it's me mainly. I'll put this into my shelf of reasons why I dislike Pandemic. Everybody loves Pandemic. I don't. It's on that weird shelf. I'm out there left.
Your controversial shelf.
Right. But it's one of those things like you love it or you hate it. I think because there are people. Just when I was doing a little bit of looking for it, there's people that like it a lot.
I knew it came out this year, but no distributor has it. Like overseas they have it, but it didn't come to the U.S. or something. And I was like, man, I really want this game, but I didn't want to pay shipping costs overseas. Because I played that at Gen Con, and the person I played it with, like, we were really into it. Like, we really liked that dual action, that wheel, you pick 2 actions.
Right.
We really liked those. I mean, yeah, I don't remember it feeling as slow.
I just, and like I said.
I think, but then again, I only played this 2, and you have, like, a blocker, like, worker. for the actions. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
When I think of a perfect engine building game for me, it's like Terraforming Mars.
Okay.
You're doing one thing that's causing this, and you're building up. This one, it took you 3 turns of doing this to get this thing, and it was just like, and I understand. I mean, it's for me with that type of game, I wanted it to be faster.
Gotcha.
And then the art wasn't even that.
Did you look at the artwork?
Yeah, I can see why.
It's fucking weird.
It's very polarizing. Like either you're really on it or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I.
That's
can
what
see
drew me to it.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? And then I'm like every single worker that came out or specialist, I was like, what is this guy? I'm like, I can't get over
Well,
him.
and the guy that was teaching it was an asshat too. That's why I didn't finish the game.
That might be
Because,
it. Too.
well, I mean, but he taught it right. He
Yeah.
played because I watched the gameplay video, and I mean, we were playing it exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to know if it was
Yeah.
the teacher or whatever. But
Yeah.
this is a guy that he taught it, and only really taught it. I mean, he knew the ebbs and flows where he was going to win.
Oh, gotcha.
And halfway through the game was like, well, fuck this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, and he was MSSU college kid that was there
Piece of
teaching
shit.
Yeah. So, wow. Yeah. If I actually had owned a copy of this game, and like I said, I didn't play a full game of Gen Con, but it might have actually made the top 10 just off the experience I had alone.
Really?
But who knows? It could have
right.
died
That's why I said
halfway
polarizing. There isn't much in between. Either you like it or you don't.
Right.
From what I've been picking up. So.
Okay, so that was your number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 2, Kat can jump in on this one, is a game that will be on the channel relatively soon, and it is Speakeasy Blues. Another game I played at Gen Con, and this one is you are making a speakeasy. You are making a speakeasy.
It's a speakeasy, so there's no that. But
There is a speakeasy.
Making
And before you get into the deal, I will just say, because I've never played this, but I remember there being pre-Gen Con,
Mhm.
it was one of the games everybody was looking forward to, and now crickets.
Yeah, no one talks about it.
Yeah.
I remember
talks
that.
about
I
it.
remember Dice Tower's anticipated game, Speakeasy Blues, was on there because of the theme alone.
Right.
No one does that theme. And I played it at Gen Con, and I was like, okay, this seems really interesting. But the demo is probably the reason why most people bought it, because it's like, okay, yep, you got your taste, quick buy our game.
Yeah.
With this one, I think the reason why it's also just as lackluster as Dice Settlers, except there is a theme. So you might be thinking, why are they swapped? It's because I had so much anticipation for this one, and after playing it, it's one of those games that uses icons or symbols throughout their game, which my feeling with symbols, she hates symbols in games.
Well,
I mainly do too, because there's really no reason for it.
Right.
You can easily put text, and some people will do symbols and text. It's like, great, you are awesome, because for beginners or learning the game, text, but then eventually you can start seeing it.
Right.
Anachrony does symbols, but there's like 5. So you learn what they are.
A
really
lot of
quickly.
companies do strictly symbols too, because then they don't have to put their game out in multiple languages.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
that's a good point.
I
I thought
mean,
it was.
that's-
I thought they had to pay for like.
Well, I'm sure they would, but then you have to have it translated and all that
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
all you have to worry about then is redoing the rule book.
That's true.
And
okay.
then everything, because like Race for the Galaxy is pretty much all symbols. I mean, there is some text, but
Yeah.
I just
So,
think that it's just overwhelming.
with
right, for sure.
with Speakeasy Blues, like you had the mechanic of there were dice that were on the board, and then there was a pool of dice. So you took 2 dice of the same color off, rolled them, and then you had an option of this pair, this pair, or this pair. So you kind of it was a way to not be host on luck, and you could spend $1 to take all the dice and re-roll all of them, and that was okay. So there was some mitigation of dice, but at the end of the day, how you make your speakeasy is you take these cards and you place them into one of 4 slots on your board, but you had to stack them. So if I had Babe Ruth here, he gives me an ability, and then I grab someone else and I put it on top of him, I can't use Babe Ruth anymore for what he died or whatever.
Right.
Now I can only use that guy. And then there's actions you can. It was set collection for your speakeasy, and it was just so weird. Like that didn't make any sense to me as to why that's how you made your speakeasy. You could have done so much more with this game, like an actual worker placement game, like kind of like Viticulture or something with.
importing certain
Yeah.
types of hooch and having
Yeah.
certain workers there.
Yeah, you could have done like or Anachrony where you have your tableau It could have been that, and that would have been awesome with this kind of theme. But the fucking stacking of cards was ridiculous.
The theme just doesn't really do it for me. Like, that's why I never have wanted to even try it, because I'm not.
Yeah, I'm into that 1920s, you know, kind of theme, speakeasies. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm into that. But yeah, I'm really glad because I asked them for a review copy, and they're like, well, we're not really in a position to do that. And I'm like, cool, because if they had given me one, I'd be like, man, I can't really shit on your game a whole lot. But bitch, I fucking bought it. so that one will be.
Get ready.
So you get. But Kat actually did that run through and led the discussion, which she actually does discussions better than I do, because she was like, she took notes throughout the game, and it was like, oh, let's talk about this and this and this, where I'm just like, let's talk.
I need structure.
Let's have a discussion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
Since I did lead that, because they think, and I think it's cool because they want it to be inclusive, because there's not a lot of females in the board game community who voice their opinions a lot, I guess, or lead discussions like that.
Starlight Citadel, I think, is a YouTube channel where it's two females. Are they Canadian?
Yeah, I think so.
They're probably cool. But so they
I
wanted
haven't watched them.
they wanted me to do it, and so it felt really cool. And then we actually played the game, and I was like, oh.
And we can easily do that more often, probably with games that we like. But yeah, our friends that had it, the icons screwed them up on endgame scoring, because on the scorecard it shows like there were tokens you can get, and at the end of the day, some of those tokens were worth points. And it was like this token slash this token slash this token dot 10 5 1. And so he thought, oh, every one of these tokens is worth this much points.
Right.
And then it turns out that it's like, no, whoever has the most of these tokens get this many total. So he just kept getting the same tokens. I'm like, man, he really wants the majority in that. Okay. Because at the time he kept getting it. Like, I had 2, Kat had 3, and then his wife had like 2 as well. So he was like tying. Then I was like, he really wants to secure this. And at the end he thought he was getting like 80 points. And I'm like, okay, so you won, you get 10 points total.
He was like,
oh man.
He was pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would be, because I didn't even look at that. I didn't even notice it. But when I was looking at it, like, because again, it was just symbol heavy, and you just look at it and you're like, yeah, logically that's how it looks.
Like, I was like, okay, here's what they were going for. But I can definitely see why everyone would see it this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever we were doing the discussion, I was like, she led the whole thing, and then we got through her list, and then she's like, is there anything else? I'm like, can we say what we think of the game? She's like, yeah, what do you want to say? I'm like, this game is fucking boring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I got it out of my system. So that's my number 2, Speakeasy Blues.
Alright, do you know what my number 1 is?
Have I played it?
I don't know if you have or not. I would be surprised if you
Wasteland
haven't,
Express.
because there's a lot of hype on this game.
Wasteland Express?
No.
Okay.
Is it oh, no, wait.
Rising Sun.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Because you haven't played it. He doesn't think you have played it.
Oh.
Well, no, I said I'm surprised. I would be surprised if you haven't, because of the
If
hype.
I haven't. Oh, okay.
Is it the Fallout
It's
game?
Fantasy Flight.
Oh.
Oh, is it the Fallout
it's
game?
Talisman.
No.
It's not Talisman. Fantasy. It's not Keyforge, is it?
Nope.
I got nothing.
It goes right along with Keyforge, though. It's another one of those unique games.
Discovery?
Yes.
I didn't know you played it.
Yes.
I had not played it because I saw. I watched a bunch of reviews because since Keyforge came out, I'll let you do your spiel. Since Keyforge came out and they started doing that unique thing, I'm like,
I love Keyforge, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. But
the
the Discovery thing, I'm like, it seems like they're trying to get on that hype thing.
I will tell you, they need to put a lot more work into it if they're going to do stuff like this, because Discover Lands Unknown is my number 1. It falls into this new unique thing where every box of this game is going to be different from everybody else's. Everything.
Different. Like
they're going to be a card, right? but here's the thing: like there's 4 different environment types that you will be playing in this. There's like the Arctic, the desert, the forest, and then like water.
I think water was one of them. Yeah.
Island or something like that. So right there, like I don't give 2 shits about, a couple. I want the ones I want, right? Plus, it comes with a bunch of characters. Your characters will be different. Your cards are all going to be different. It's just and for whatever it is, I don't know what it sells for, $50, $60 is MSRP or something like that. For Keyforge, $10, you get a deck.
Yeah.
You're done. I'm not going to pay $60 for something that I don't know what I'm going to get.
That's a good
That
point.
I may not even get the stuff I like.
Mhm.
Like I may get the shitty desert and island theme or water theme, and then a friend of mine gets the one I really want, you know, and I'm just like, my copy sucks now, you know?
Yeah.
And
It's almost like getting a Kickstarter game.
well,
and
right,
then
right,
getting
but
the base retail
but
version.
you know, and then so the business model for a board game is weak as far as this goes anyway, right?
Mhm.
But the gameplay is incredibly weak. Like,
That's what I saw.
like it is like too easy and too simple and everything, and it's like, it's very light, generic stuff. Because pretty much what the theme is it's almost like you just like pop into this deal and you're trying to survive. The cover really doesn't show much about what the deal is, right?
So in conjunction with that, they had a top-notch game to compete against in its Seventh Continent.
Right.
And it's like, even if you haven't played Seventh Continent, you can easily tell it's a far superior game because it's the exact same theme.
Right.
And it's like you can't
Right.
Fantasy Flight stop. Like you can't compete against that because it's already been done.
I mean, they got their money because the hype was real for this game. It was like super hype on this game, and everybody went nuts because, you know, the Keyforge came out and hit with a big.
I would also say
thing.
their business model is probably really good for the consumer because it's like, oh, what copy did you want? Great, I got it.
Well, right.
Here's $100.
Right. Well,
People are doing that with Keyforge already. You want this specific deck, $200.
Well,
and people will pay for it too.
Somebody spent $1,200 on a deck for.
You're kidding me? Oh my god!
A few weeks ago, there was a double horseman deck went for $1,200.
Jesus Christ!
So anyway, but back to this one, it just isn't. I don't know. It had a lot of hype. It had a lot of. I hoped it was going to be good, but I was already hesitant because, I mean, if you've picked up any, I'm a completionist. Like I want to have, if I'm getting into a game, I want everything that I can get, or I want what I want out of it.
Yeah.
Keyforge almost bugs me because I can't get certain cards that I want in my decks and stuff, but I'm okay with that because it's so cheap.
That's fair.
You know, this one, you're making a big, and I haven't bought it. I played somebody else's copy.
Okay.
Because
That's
I don't
good.
want to spend money because I don't want to.
I almost bought it. I would have bought it,
Right.
but it was out of stock.
If you want to see a very blunt review of this, or a review, is just listen to Tom Vassel's review of it, because he hates it.
He shit on it, yeah. I watched, no pun intended, they did not like it either.
Yeah, so...
and I'm not a huge fan of their reviews, but they definitely are very thorough.
Yeah, so I will not... I mean, there's no.
You know what the problem is? So check out Dice Tower's Tom Vassel's review over it. But the other thing about this game, and I'm pretty sure I hate every single game that has this, and it's semi-cooperative.
That is another one.
That was a huge negative. I don't think there's a single semi-cooperative game. Maybe Cutthroat Caverns, but I don't really count that. It is semi-cooperative, I guess.
Kind of, yeah, I guess it has to be.
But the mentality is completely different than a game where you are fully expected to work together, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck you.
Well, and that's what this does, because at the end of the minor spoilers. I'm not going to tell anything, but like the very first one you do, when you get to the end, there's like this boss thing, right? And you kind of have to work together a little bit to do it, but then whoever does the last blow wins.
Yeah.
And then the other two have to
fight it again. Yeah.
And so it's like, well, I'm not going to help you anymore. You know, I mean, more or less, I know this is, I'm saying kind of like what Vassal does on his, you know, and then I've only played that one deal, but then I know that for a fact, the last one of the box is just it's a free-for-all. Yeah. Everybody's just fighting each other, and it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not going to say any more because there's people creaming in their pants over it.
All right. Can you guess what my number one is? And this one,
I was hoping it was going to be that because
I didn't play it.
What company?
Colossal. I'm gonna get the most hate for this being my number one. But Colossal Games.
Play it with me.
We did play. We played it with Josh and Sheridan too.
Oh no!
I'm trying to think what Colossal.
They just did Miso. the Rising Sun.
Okay,
Kickstarter.
right.
I
So
can't remember what else they've done.
it wouldn't be that.
I almost traded it to Chad for Folklore.
Oh, okay. Western Legends.
Western Legends is my
Yeah,
number
yeah.
one, and God, it hurt. It hurt to put it at number one, which is funny because in all reality, like we don't have. Like I could put this. I didn't have to put it on the list, but it is at number one. Like I said, I didn't do these based off. I probably should have done it based off would I play it again. Which it kind of ended up falling like that because I probably would play Archmage again. I would play Lords of Helis and Dice for the Speakeasy. Western Legends, that hype for how much I wanted it to be good versus how much I ended up liking it is so drastically different. Because the first game we played of Western Legends was awesome. Like, because it has that sandbox feel where, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Fair. But sandbox games and board games anyway, when there is an ulterior motive, especially if it was sandbox like cooperative, that's true because everyone's working together. Seventh Continent is sandboxy. You can pretty much do whatever
you can do whatever kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Western Legends is competitive, so it's like, no, I can't do whatever I want because I won't win doing it that way.
Right.
So it's like if I want to just role play in this very limited sandbox game, then yeah, I guess you're right. But the first game we played, we loved it because we hadn't done everything, and we played it again. We played it almost every day, and it got worse and worse and worse. Once I realized, oh, okay, so to be a marshal to win that way, you just go back and forth with these fucking cattle, or wanted. Sorry, because you can go.
Right.
They're all the same distance, but yeah, as a marshal, you can rattle.
You can
rustle these cattle. Down and get points that way and get bonuses. Or if you're wanted, you can just go back and forth between the same things. And dear God, I fully believe this game is unbalanced. I think it is verily.
Verily I say unto thee, the scoundrels win in this game.
The freaking is so heavily in favor of the wanted player. And everyone's argument to me is if the wanted player gets points at the end of every single one of their turns, it's like, fine, okay. Then it is up to the rest of the players to make sure they don't do that. It's like, okay, then it's not a sandbox game if now my job is to stop them. It's like, if you wanted to go wanted, then because people can't do anything to you if they're not on the marshal track. It's like, fine, I'm the only one on the marshal track, so now my entire game is to stop you from getting points. And, I mean, I get 1 point, because Marshall gets points at the end of the game, or if they go up on their track, then they get those points. But it's like, then I don't get to play how I want to, because otherwise you win if I don't stop you.
Right.
So I guess I'm just doing that now.
Does that track throughout the... I mean, like...
So the difference between the two is the martial track goes up, and it cannot go down unless you willingly do a point or an action that gives you a wanted. So if I'm on level 8 out of 9 on the martial, I'm like, you know what? I think I'll rob the bank. Then I lose all 8 points, and I go 1 point on wanted. You can lose wanted points if you get arrested, if you whatever. Then you start all over. So that's their balance. However, my complaint is fine. Okay, if that's balanced and it's up to the other players to keep the wanted player in check, cool. Except now people aren't playing the way they want to play. I don't want to sit here and babysit you.
Right.
There's really no repercussions to being wanted either because, like, the only thing that stops you from moving around the board are bandits. Like, if I'm standing in, because there's one spot to get from one cattle to the other cattle ranch. If you can just run right past me.
Gotcha.
I can't block you. I can't be like, oh, I'm going to sit here and you have to duel me to get past. No, there's none of that. And whenever because they're the sheriff's office where you go if you get arrested is like 2 spaces away from the bank. So
you just go rob the bank.
You just go out and you go in the one fucking bank. It's like, it's not like, okay, you've robbed the bank twice, so now he gets 2 more strength. Or nope. It's like you're a regular at that point. When I got arrested, great, I'm just gonna go, because you get 3 wanted points.
Right.
So it's like, okay, like, there was just no repercussions. And I hated that.
So is this game, like, when you sit down to play it, it's one big experience, it's done, right?
That's how I felt.
Scenario.
No, it's you play.
So it's one game and you're okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that would really suck if it was scenario based.
It was not. You everything was laid out. They had the cool thing they had was these story cards, which like had conditions. Hey, if you get $80 in one turn, you took a marker and you put it on,
Right.
and after a certain amount of markers per depending on number of players, it went off.
Gotcha.
And whoever participated in that got the benefits of it. I thought that was really cool because they had a lot of the similar conditions but different stories. So that I thought that was neat. And man, it was so samey by the end of the.
Right.
I've played this game probably like 5 or 6 times, with multiple different people. And one of my friends, he was raving about the game, and I'm like, you were only raving because it was going so well for you. Because you were the wanted player. And like, literally, cause it's all random, because it's the same deck of cards that are, so it's like you can go and play poker, which is legitimate poker based off your hand, but they also have a secondary ability. Right. So it's like, okay, fine. Like, if wanted players can lose all their points, and I'm going to go arrest you, that doesn't mean I'm going to win. Right. Like, oh, you got an ace? Great, you automatically win.
Right.
So, I didn't stop you. I wasted my whole turn. Now, oh look, it's your turn again. You get points. Like, I firmly believe this game is unbalanced, and I hate it.
I love hearing bad reviews of these Kickstarter games, though, that I passed on because it makes me feel.
It makes you feel. Oh, thank God! Thank God! Funny enough, all 5 of these games were Speakeasy Blues wasn't Kickstarter. Not that I know of, anyway. 4 of mine were Kickstarter games.
One of mine were Kickstarter.
I think these were whenever we were trying to do a top 10 worst Kickstarter games, I think these were the 5 I put down. 4 of them anyway.
That makes sense.
Luckily enough, I wasn't able to put 10. Thank God. But Western Legends it has potential. It pisses me off to put it whenever other people put it on the best games, and I'm like, no!
It's because they only played it once.
They did only play it once.
Because we loved it the first time we played it.
We were so into it.
We
I was
were like,
so
this
excited.
is awesome!
So excited to play it again, and I was like, okay, well, sandbox, but I'm doing the same thing.
And in every game, if there's a broken mechanic where you can just cheese it, I find it, and I'm the first one who found out, like, oh, I'm in jail. Guess who's
I guess because it's not, you don't lose a turn, you just go there, and then it's like, all right, thanks, Sheriff. Give me the money! They're like, well, you took it all. Nope.
I promise I'll be good this time.
Yeah. It's almost like it needs a 3-strike rule, like third time you get arrested and you're in there for a lot longer.
Yeah, something. It needed something, and it just didn't, so. Okay. But that's our top 5 worst games of 2018. Let us know what your worst games of 2018 are in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.